blood isn't always love, escaping family entitlement. They called her ungrateful, selfish, cold, all because she said no. No to giving up her weekends to babysit. No to loaning money she didn't have. No to the endless guilt trips disguised as love. Her mother said, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me? But what if love that demands obedience isn't love at all?" This is not just her story. It's the story of millions, smothered by the people who raised them. This is the story of Maya. Maya grew up in a small, tight-knit household on the edge of the city, a place where the phrase, "family is everything," was carved into the walls like scripture. Her mother worked 2 jobs. Her father disappeared when she was 5. Her older brother, James, dropped out of school in the 11th grade and never quite found his way back. Maya, the youngest, became the family's unspoken backbone. By 10, she was preparing meals while her mother was on night shifts. By 12, she was babysitting James' newborn daughter because he had errands. By 14, she knew what guilt tasted like, and it tasted like silence. Whenever Maya needed something, shoes, books, even time to herself, she'd hear, "Do you think you're better than the rest of us now? Everything we do for you, and you still want more? Don't forget who fed you, raised you, clothed you." Love, in Maya's world, came with a receipt, and every act of care was a transaction she'd be forced to repay tenfold. As she got older, Maya worked twice as hard to escape the weight. Scholarships, night classes, weekend jobs. She earned her way into college. No handouts, no favors, no applause. And even then, especially then, her family clung tighter. Not out of pride, but possession. Her mother would say, "You owe us. You wouldn't be in college if it weren't for us. You need to remember where you came from." But what Maya remembered most was missing childhood, missing peace, missing space to just be. It wasn't hate. It was something quieter, something more dangerous. It was emotional debt disguised as devotion. Maya was 26 when the first real no left her lips. And even then, it wasn't loud. It didn't echo through the house. It came out quiet, almost whispered, like someone testing freedom for the first time. Her brother James had lost another job. His 3rd that year. His 4th in 2 years. This time, he needed help paying rent, or so he said. But Maya had seen the signs before. New sneakers, unpaid bills, and the smell of smoke lingering in his clothes. He called her one night, voice half casual, half urgent. "Yo, sis, I'm short on rent. Just $400. I'll pay you back by next week." She stared at her phone. She had the money, but she also had groceries to buy, a work presentation due, and a week's worth of stress she hadn't even had time to feel yet. Maya took a breath, then another, and said, "I'm sorry, James. I can't this time." Silence. Then laughter, dry and sharp. "Wow. So you finally made it and forgot about your own family." The next morning, her mother called. "Why is James calling me crying? You're really going to let your own brother get evicted? You're not better than us, Maya. Don't forget where you come from." That phrase again. The dagger in a soft voice. Don't forget where you come from. As if where she came from was something to be ashamed of. As if her growth was betrayal. As if survival was selfish. Maya hung up the phone and stared at the ceiling for what felt like an hour. she realized something no one had ever said out loud. In her family, love meant loyalty, even if it cost you everything. Even if it broke you. Even if it made you resent yourself for trying to live. From that day on, she started saying no more often. No to last-minute babysitting. No to guilt-laced messages. No to showing up when she wasn't respected. And every no came with a storm. Accusations. Messages left unread. Family dinners where no one said her name. But with every storm came space. Space to breathe. Space to heal. Space to ask, what if love doesn't mean submission? What if boundaries aren't betrayal? The silence wasn't immediate. It crept in slowly, like a fog that settled over everything. First came the group chat, once filled with memes and late-night gossip, now eerily quiet when Maya spoke. Then the subtle uninvites. Family gatherings she wasn't told about until they were already over. Birthdays missed. Conversations avoided. No one said the words, but the message was clear. If you won't play your part, you're no longer part of us. And yet for the first time, Maya felt something else besides guilt. She felt relief, because silence was painful, yes, but so was living as a resource instead of a person. So was being needed more than being seen. At work, she performed better. At home, she breathed deeper. In therapy, finally, she spoke the sentence she'd never dared to say. My family loved me, but only when I obeyed. Her therapist nodded gently and asked, "Do you think that's love? Or fear dressed up as love?" The words landed like bricks. No one had ever questioned it. No one had ever validated her pain like that. Maya spent months rebuilding herself. Not just emotionally, but practically. She learned to sit with discomfort without rushing to fix others' problems. Create boundaries and enforce them. Speak her truth, even if her voice shook. And she made peace with a terrifying thought. Not everyone who raised you deserves access to the person you became. She still loved her family deeply, but she now understood that love isn't unconditional when it's used as leverage. That guilt is not a form of affection, and that you can forgive people without giving them front row seats to your life. Maya didn't cut everyone off. She didn't need to, because over time, the space she created became a mirror. Some family members stepped back and stayed back. Others started showing up differently. A few even apologized, awkwardly, in half sentences. But by then, Maya wasn't waiting for permission to heal. She had built something stronger than a family obligation. She had built boundaries. She had built self-trust. And she had built a version of herself that no longer mistook guilt for love. One afternoon, she sat on her small balcony, coffee in hand, sun warming her face, and she realized something. Love shouldn't come with conditions, and family shouldn't feel like a debt you're always repaying. The little girl who once cooked dinner in silence now cooked for herself with joy. The woman who once cried in locked bathrooms now laughed out loud in open rooms. She didn't know anyone her peace, and she didn't need to explain why. If you've ever felt guilty for saying no to family, if you've ever been called selfish for choosing yourself, if you've ever wondered whether you were the problem, you're not. Protecting your peace isn't betrayal. It's survival, and healing, and finally freedom.